Do it all with STIHL Battery. Now is the best time to save big on over 40 hardworking STIHL tools. Hurry into your local STIHL dealer or shop online.
Ready to go?
Yep.
What have you been up to, Kim?
Well, I've been up to a lot. I'm filming a new show called Locally Owned.
Sure you are. Do you realize every episode, every single episode is, I'm doing a new show and what? Like you're into a lot of shows. No. You're doing a lot of things.
There's a lot of things on the go. Yeah. So I'm hosting this show. It's all about local businesses.
Love it.
I made some mead.
Oh.
Alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honey-based beer-ish, ale?
Wine-ish.
Oh, wine. Okay.
It's fermented.
Okay.
But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at the products that this place makes.
Did you, you've made it and you've tried it?
No.
Or it ferments for a while?
It takes about a month.
Oh, okay.
So I put the yeast in and I got to see it bubble.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I did that. I also am all packed for Iceland.
Amazing. When is that?
Next week.
First time ever going there?
Yes.
That's incredible.
Taking all of my camera equipment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Do you have any excursions booked? You know, trips to the geysers and things is it geysers?
Yeah.
I assume, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Lots of places on the Google map.
Very cool. That's super cool. The trip I told you about before, the one to Scandinavia, the sailing. When I came back, I flew through Iceland, but it was just a few hour layover. I didn't leave the airport, but it was a bucket list, and now knowing that there's direct flights right from Halifax, it's kind of like to Reykjavik. Why wouldn't you make that happen?
4 hours and 15 minutes. You're there.
It's nothing. May as well do that.
You should.
Should.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah. Seems super cool.
So what else have you been up to?
Been busy. I think we both always that's the default response. Past month has been pretty crazy. Past 2-3 weeks have been pretty crazy. So, as you know, we've had some pretty dry conditions in our province. We had some wildfires, and I was asked to go help out, work on the big wildfire in Western Nova Scotia. It's where I live and work, not too far from there. And I did that for about 4 or 5 days, and there's a lot of effort going in, and a lot of people, and individuals pitching in to help kind of save homes. And it was nice to be able to do a very small amount and be there and help. All of my team were there already. They'd been putting crazy hours. People are working crazy hours there, 15, 16, 18-hour days. You get a little bit of rest and then back at it. Contractors coming in, running heavy equipment. It's a huge undertaking. People from other provinces coming in and helping. It sounds like things are now getting to be in better shape. So, so that was pretty exhausting.
I can imagine.
A lot of smoke and whatnot. And then I went off. I had a couple of days in between, and then I went off to Ontario, to London. I just got back yesterday from the STIHL Timbersports Canadian Championships. So I was hosting that event. That was so it's 3 days. We have the Women's Canadian Championship, Men's Canadian Championship, and then big hot saw event, hot saw showdown. So that was pretty cool.
My favorite.
Yes, the hot saw. And we talked about that a bit with Josh Clark when he was here from STIHL. And so it's been busy and but great and exhausting and a bit of a whirlwind. But that's kind of always a bit part of my summer, not the fireside, but the event hosting and traveling around and stuff like that. So it was great to go, and just got back yesterday, and I actually brought somebody with me. Kim.
You didn't.
I sure did. I brought a 2-time Canadian STIHL Timbersports champion, a good buddy of mine. He's also the only Canadian to ever win a world title in the STIHL Timbersports Series. He did it at the World Championships 2018 in the trophy event, which is a really intense endurance event. I was just thrilled he was able to take some time. I feel like we keep asking people to basically tack things onto their travel so that they can come
busy
in.
Enough.
We did it with Keola, we did it with Josh, and now we're going to do it with Stirling Hart. Hey, Stirling Hart.
Howdy.
From now Squamish, BC.
You betcha.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Good to be here.
I super appreciate you coming and doing this.
I super appreciate you making this happen.
Yeah. Well, we just, it was basically an excuse to
It's
drink
not like
whiskey and talk about
Squamish is,
Exodus.
it's not like Squamish is close. So yeah, we went to the championships and made that happen.
Pulled a few strings. Hey, shout out to STIHL, honestly. Like they're,
Absolutely.
They treat Stirling and I pretty good. And obviously sponsoring the podcast, but really they went above and beyond. I kind of put a little nudge in there. I said, Stirling, he's going to be on the podcast. You're sponsoring the podcast, and he's already going to be all the way in Ontario. I mean, that's basically for people from BC and pretty much Ontario. Like,
what a branding opportunity this could be.
Yeah, it's so close.
Yeah,
a couple more hours flight. I'm already going. So we flew in yesterday. He's here one night, interview, and then fly to Vancouver tonight. So,
yeah, in a couple hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do super appreciate it. I know you're crazy busy guy, and it's really cool that you're doing this. How are you feeling after the weekend? It's a big weekend. Stirling got to do some hosting with me as well with the Women's Championship, which was super cool. It's the first time we ever got to do that together.
We've been dreaming of hosting together for a long time. So this was
happened.
Absolutely, yeah. Ryan helped kind of start the wheels in motion there, and no, it worked out good. I mean, obviously, I went over with the key thing being to compete in the Canadian Championships. Didn't go last year. Took a year off. Let a few aches and pains heal up and saved all that energy up. Came back this year and underperformed marvelously.
Oh, I don't know.
When you look back on it on film, it's like, oh, that's not that bad. But when things go wrong in your head and you're like, wow, that was, I had pictured that going better in my mind. Yeah.
I mean, I think you're hard on yourself because you've performed at such a high level for so long in your career that anytime there's going to be a hiccup that doesn't allow you to be peak performance or basically a champion, it's going to be like, that wasn't a great day at the office. But I will say this, from an outsider's point of view, from somebody looking in that knows how challenging it is to perform in that sport at that level, it's always impressive to watch you. I always enjoy, like, I kind of turn into a fan, even though I'm hosting. I like watching you compete. I think the approach you take to the sport is really unmatched. There's very few people that do what you do. I mean, admittedly, you're not one of the bigger guys out there. You perform from a technical side, also incredibly powerful, no question. I'm not taking anything away from that. But I mean, you're competing against some guys that are 250, 300 pounds, like huge guys, 6'4", 6'5", monsters. And you compete and beat many of them all the time. So I think you're hard on yourself. I know there was a rough ride in the springboard chop this week. And we can talk about
At
that
least
if you
that
want.
one was entertaining.
It was entertaining.
I did the first event. I'm like, well, the second one will go better. And then the second one didn't go great. And I'm like, well, the third one will, this will go good. And then the third one was very similar to the first two.
Pockets you're talking about?
No,
or just
the first two. We do 6 events, right?
Right.
3, and then into the second round, single buck went okay, and then springboard, which is typically I've been decent at this event.
Okay. Hold on here. Decent. Held the world record in the springboard chop. So springboard chop is the one that we feature in our logo.
Yes,
That's the one where you're sitting on the board. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this guy right here.
So you've done it.
Yes.
No, just like in
animation.
AI.
In animation, she's done the springboard chop, just a one board. So Stirling held the world record, 35 seconds and change, to go basically cut 2 notches into a pole, throw boards in, jump on one board, jump on the second board, sever the log attached to the top of the pole that's 11 inches diameter roughly, and do that all in 35 seconds, which is insane.
Crazy.
And I mean,
throughout my career, I've been very lucky to have really good cuts, typically when it really matters. And that was at a world championship, and it was a world record.
Oh, yeah.
And I held that for quite a while. And
it's a crazy video. It's worth watching.
So going into this springboard event, I was being built up for pretty much the entire day as world record holder. You're not going to want to miss this folks final heat. Wow, stay tuned. This is going to be amazing.
My bad.
And man, it was a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
it was comical. Like,
I didn't know how to call it.
No.
And like, if you go back and watch the commentary, I'm baffled. And
I didn't know how to do it.
I was like, what is going on?
So if I was to break down what happened, basically, so typically you cut these 2 pockets in the tree, you go up, cut the block halfway from one side, turn around, finish on the other side. So normally you're about 4 hits to put each pocket in. So I put my 4 hits in, And the wood was what we would call very good. It was soft, which means maybe we could get close to a world record again.
Sure.
And so I was like, okay, well, that's good. So I put my first 4 hits in, and then my brain automatically was started to think about cutting the block up top. Okay, well, if I cut like 16 hits in the front, that on the back, that'll put me like close. This is where my little noggin was going.
Yeah.
4 hits, put the axe up, went to put the board in the tree, and I put it in. I'm like, I just felt funny. I'm like, whatever, keep going. I got on it, and it fell out. I'm like, well, that's new. Okay, so I pick it up and I put it back in and I get on it and it falls out. And so I look at the clip and I look at the board and I'm like, everything looks pretty good here. So I jam it back in again a third time and get on it, and it manages to kind of stay in the tree. And then I managed to get the second hole in. I put the board in, and as I jump onto the second one, the first board falls out of the tree. So my feet are just dangling like a little kid on a swing. One hand on the axe, one on the board.
Big press.
Yeah, and I do the old muscle up onto the board. And then,
oh boy,
like a complete Muppet, I turn to the audience and go, ta-da!
No.
I take one hit, and the board falls out of the tree, and I fall from like 9 feet down onto the stage into a heap.
Great.
Not great. And the whole crowd's like, ah! And I get up, and then I just kind of stand there, and I'm looking, I'm like, I don't really know what's going on. So I go around, do some head scratching, like all live event. Jeff Larkin's on the other side trying to concentrate.
It's a race.
It's
Yeah.
a race.
It's a race.
And there's me flopping around like a salmon on the deck. And so I go back over, I have a look at everything and like, I don't know, like, so I cut the first pocket a little deeper and I'm like, well, I'll try something different. And so I stick it in and I get on it and I'm like, well, that's a little better. And then I recut the second one really deep this time and put it in, but it doesn't want to bite. And so I just ended up putting it in and then kind of resting my arms on it. And then the footage is really good because then I just start looking at Jeff and just cheering Jeff on and just talking to him, like legs crossed, just kind of like accepting my fate at this point.
You're very relaxed.
I was very relaxed at this point. I was fresh out of ideas. Like I was troubleshooting. Like well,
it was tough to watch. I'm not going to lie, just because it's again, like no one would have predicted that. You wouldn't have predicted it. We had been predicting all day, like that wood up top is really good, meaning Stirling or one of our other competitors, Mitch Hewitt, great springboard cutter. One of those guys could potentially go up there and break a world record today. And that's what you want to see, right? Mm-hmm. But you need great timber to do that. And these guys knew it, of course. And so there's a bit of racing going on. So unfortunately didn't happen. Bad run, but 1 out of like 350 springboard cuts is fine.
So there's the little metal clips on the end of our boards. And I have made mine specially for basically being a little guy and being able to get on it.
Yeah.
So the lip at the end that digs in, it's quite short, and it's quite short this way, and it's very, very good in kind of firm-ish trees.
Yeah.
These were not firm.
They were very soft.
The ground was firm.
Very soft.
They were very fresh, very green, which is good, nice and soft, quick to do the rest of the business, but it didn't really work for my equipment. So that was basically it. It was operator error, unfortunately. And I did have this thought that I was going to run off stage because I knew there was some boards leaning against the
You were going to
fence.
steal someone else's board?
I was going to steal somebody else's board.
You should have taken Jeff's first board because he
I
was already up there.
I was like, I wonder if Jeff's done with his.
That'd be great.
Because if I can get
Steal
up onto
your
that.
competitor's equipment.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm having a bad run. I don't need to drag my friends down with me.
No. That would have been awful.
Of course, he's been on Team Canada with me, so I wanted him to have a good run. And,
Jeff's a good guy. Nova Scotia athlete, too.
Yeah, but no, I mean, overall, like the weekend, obviously, that day didn't go like good for me. I still somehow managed to make it into the final event, the hot saw.
Top 5, fifth?
Yeah, I ended up 5th somehow.
Yeah, I mean, that's still fifth in
Paper,
Canada.
I think that deserves some celebrating.
I do too. I was just going to say, we could celebrate / maybe drown your sorrows after the springboard. What do you think, Kim? What have we got today here? Tell us a little bit about what we're sipping on.
Yeah, I'd be so happy to share that with you. So we have Bohemian Spirits, which I know you have a connection to. We have the small batch whiskey. And it is a rye and wheat blend. We're sitting at 40% alcohol as well. So it should be interesting to try that. I was thinking maybe we could just try it on its own first before, just to kind of see what notes we're getting.
Where's your guys' bottle? I don't know what your weekend was like.
You know what?
I'll just take a straw, thanks.
One per. Listen, I know you have a bottle of that. So Bohemian Spirits is a buddy of mine in Kimberley, BC.
Best name ever.
My buddy Wade Jarvis. So he started that company. He's got this small local distillery out there, And I kind of told him the concept of what we were doing a few months ago before we'd even started filming. And I said, hey, we're going to have Stirling Hart on from BC. We'd love to use a BC whiskey. I thought it'd be great if we partner. And he's like, absolutely, no question. So he shipped a bottle and some bitters as well, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And he shipped some to you, which I thought was hilarious because basically he just cracked them out. There was no address
because
on it.
He had addressed his friend about the podcast idea. He hadn't told me about the podcast. So this unmarked box shows up, nothing in it.
I knew he was going to be on, whether he knew it or not.
So I left it there I left it for a day because I'm like, if it's been received on the other end, postage might go, hey, package has been received. Somebody will own up to it. Nothing for a couple of days. So I had a really awesome day at work. And so, yeah, I made my own because I saw the ingredients and I'm like, I bet this is an old fashioned.
Liquid therapy. I love it.
Yeah. Let's try
I've been holding off on opening it because I want to see what the cork pop sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
You ready for it?
Yeah. Ooh.
That was a good
I like
one.
it. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to try. Yeah. So my buddy Wade Jarvis, I know him through Timbersports. We were competitors together way back in the day.
No, mine will need to be a little bigger, I think.
Oh, yeah, it was a tough run there.
Okay.
UNB Woodsman team.
Wonderful.
So we double bucked together. We chopped together in the college level. They have like doubles chopping. So we were like standing block partners back in the day. And now he's providing whiskey for an axe throwing timber sports podcast, which is really super cool. So cheers.
So how do we taste this properly?
Oh yeah, how do we do this?
We'll get there. Okay, so open your mouth slightly. Not like that.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. It gets a little carried away.
Yeah.
So then it allows for you to actually smell what you're taking in with your nose without getting like a burn in your nose. So you just keep your mouth open a little bit.
Okay.
And then switch nostrils too.
Very sweet.
It is. It's definitely sweet. It smells like, it's a 40%. So I'm hopeful that we're going to get some complexity here instead of just that. It's really sweet.
It is. I like it. Cheers, Wade.
It's kind of reminiscent of like a wheated American style bourbon.
Yes. Is it finished? I wonder. I'll have to ask him. I don't know if he might have even told me, but I felt like it was finished in a bourbon cask.
Oh,
I think it might be.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Which is a big. I know you're a big. I have to confirm that. But anyway, that does.
It is something that I've actually taken away from the sport and from some of the older guys that I've competed with, some of the mentors, along with, this is how you compete properly. This is how you chop wood. There's a lot of life lessons that go on after the competition. And one of the ones that I learned from an English guy overseas was basically the proper way to drink good spirits.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of young people, they'll take it or they'll take a shot at the bar and they're like, oh, it's disgusting. Like, da-da-da. And it's like, well, it turns out you're just not operating it.
Wrong.
You're drinking it wrong. And when you drink it properly, and, you always hear people like, oh, you can like taste the hints of this, hints of that. And they're like, oh, it tastes like gas. But when you drink it properly, it's a really good way to enjoy it.
It is. Yeah. This has like a really nice warmth that it gives your entire mouth, which is nice too. And it's like not overly powerful in the spice department. It's a really good sipper.
Yeah, it's tasty.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot about the springboard.
How are we going to use this today? Forgot all about your springboard. I love it. So tell us about our drink today.
So we are going to do a classic old fashioned.
Oh my. We got you like our little double bit
I'm
stirs?
just going to put those in there so I don't get your glasses mixed up. But this is also from Bohemian Spirits.
Oh, yeah.
The white bark pine bitters.
Ooh, I like that.
So that should bring out some nice freshness in our whiskey.
Love it.
And then we're going to smoke it with some wood chips, obviously.
Yeah.
Douglas fir.
Yeah, shipped in. Wade sent us a bit of Doug fir too. I can assume you know why.
Hand processed as well.
Hand processed. We were ripping them. We were ripping up chips before we started. Appreciate the effort in there.
Could have just dumped out my work socks.
You probably could have. Yeah. But I also, each one of these episodes, we really want to tailor the drink to the guest, but I want to tailor the whole episode to the guest as well. And I've told you this story. I've told others this story, but Squamish Days Lager Sports, which obviously you're part of the organizing team now, and you've competed at countless times, and you're from that area. I've only been out there a few times, but it was one of like the formative moments for me in timber sport, in lager sports, lumberjack sports. Like going there for the first time in 2006 was a huge moment for me. It locked me into the sport. I've told you this before, but like I saw Jason Wynyard there for the first time, and he was like this mountain of a man.
Yeah,
and it was
Timbersports great.
Yeah, and like one of the greatest ever. And you know, and I had some luck. I even brought the 2 trophies that I've won there before. I know you'd appreciate those. These are super unique trophies that they make just at Squamish days. Like
They're really
not
nice.
anywhere else. And like you could tell us the whole
Squamish
history
is
of those.
definitely like what we call like a bucket list show.
Yeah.
There's big shows all over the world that, you know, they're shows that you should go do in your career if this is your thing. And Squamish is definitely one of those. And these hand carved trophies by Neil Baker out of Squamish. They're amazing. He's been doing them for 30 years now, and you've managed to come away with 2.
I have, yeah. They're
That's
pretty
good.
They were they were just really special. It was special to be there. I think like, so Kim, it's this custom designed outdoor amphitheater that seats like 5,000 people. It's just for this event.
Okay.
Happens like once a year. And to compete in front of a crowd like that and then to, you know, win is a really cool thing because
a lot of emotion.
The crowd pop is like, it hits you in a big way. And I think and we were talking about that earlier too. Like, I think that's one of the reasons that was like, oh, I can see doing a lot more of this.
It is like and it's, you know, traveling for a lot of people, even if you're coming from out east, from the States, it's a long way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those places that.
Oh my goodness.
Much.
Oh my goodness.
Number one.
You don't need to wait. You can,
actually, the smoke's giving me kind of PTSD.
Oh yeah.
God.
Some good stuff, huh?
Sorry.
A little bit of Douglas fir. You let us know what you think of that.
The
We got
Douglas fir smells amazing.
It does.
Smoked. Holy.
a little cherry in there, some orange.
Yep.
That is one of the nice things, actually, even being out here today in Halifax, the leaves are starting to kind of turn, the fall
They
weather.
are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And actually, this smells like a campfire. And I instantly had this like sense of calm, like, oh, we've made it through like, you know, I work in wildfire for work at home.
Yep.
And of course, you've been on the front lines here in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that the weather's kind of turning a little bit, everybody's social anxiety is starting to kind of dip a little bit.
It's actual anxiety
really
too.
good point, yeah.
It's,
Okay, I'm going to try it.
absolutely. It's I mean, fall's best time of year here. Really, it is. It's my favorite time anyway. And
You know what? It's spooky season.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. I love fall.
Yeah.
And my
You
birthday
big
is in the fall
Halloween,
too.
big Halloween person?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
My birthday falls in
Kim?
the... Yes.
This is really good.
Oh,
Oh.
good.
Yeah, scared you, hey?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what's
I
in
was
there?
nervous too.
Yeah.
Holy God.
In this country, we believe in what we're made of. Grit. Drive. The will it takes to be different. We've been called to serve this great land. Because we were made for this.
Speaking of fall, it was actually this time last year that you were here, and it was for the Wild Axe Championships television series. Took a little shift away from the STIHL Timbersports Series, which of course you're globally known, but you focused really on the axe throwing thing. Again, thanks for coming out for that. That was really cool. You know, I think it'd be interesting to hear your perspective on this kind of axe throwing boom that's happening around the world, and maybe some of the differences that you see, and some similarities too. Like I think that the type of axe throwing that's happening now globally is very different than maybe what we've seen in logger sports and lumberjack sports over the years, timber sports. It's just, to me, it's a branch out and a different. You know, it's on the same branch of the tree, but or the same tree, but a different branch. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Don't hurt yourself. Yeah.
I'm trying to get it out here. Yeah, but I mean, like, what did that mean to you? What was that experience like? And you know, now that you've been through a few of these big axe throwing events, thank you, Karen.
You're very welcome.
You know, where does it stand for you? Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Isn't that
Oh yeah.
good?
Oh yeah.
I like the smoke.
Well done. Me too.
Good.
Because you don't,
It's really
are
good.
you probably not necessarily meant to taste the smoke, but because the smoke is going in kind of through your sinuses, it like does that make it sound like I know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is that how it?
Really
Just keep trying.
Yeah,
smart.
I used to drink a lot. Yeah. So the axe throwing's it's a really cool opportunity and kind of the way it's changing. So out west and most kind of lumberjack competitions around the world, the majority of them have axe throwing. The format is a little bit different. The targets are a little bit different. Some slightly different rules, but it's always been kind of an add-on event of these competitions. And it's kind of one of those things that like...
Oh my, what's happening over there?
So much excitement, hey?
I did nothing. Carry on.
Really nervous in front of lumberjacks. Have a drink. It'll calm your nerves.
Okay, I can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah, get into this. Yeah.
And, it's something that we haven't really taken seriously.
Yeah.
It's kind of an add-on event. Like if you make some money out of it, cool, some gas or some beer money, right? Or bragging rights.
Sometimes you have to go find your axe.
Absolutely, or borrow one. Yeah. So, but the kind of evolution of it out here, it's kind of come a lot from axe throwing lounges. You've got the Timber Lounge here.
Yeah, we were there last night with Tyler.
Absolutely.
Tyler Wenzel.
I love it there.
Yep.
Isn't it good?
It's great.
The atmosphere, everything. Yeah. And so it's become a lot more serious. And with the way the format is and other countries getting involved, now you're seeing people approach it in a more serious manner. And you're seeing a lot more people get in. And it's an easy thing to get involved with.
Yeah.
You can just rock up to the Timber Lounge here, like right in Dartmouth, go try it. Yeah. If you like it, you can throw for a few weeks, get good at it. And you could be in a competition coming up type thing, And when we came out here, we came out actually for the first time for the World Championships that you were part of running.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, and then we came out again for this Wild Axe Championship last fall. And, we've always considered ourselves like pretty decent axe throwers. We're like, we're athletes. I've been doing this
Carl Bischoff.
Absolutely. I've been doing this for 30 years. And we got our butts handed to us by,
I would say
by
that.
everybody out here. No, but the level that they've taken it to. Yeah. And I'll tell you the other cool thing. Like, we went and, like you said, we visited with Tyler last night at the Timber Lounge. And he mentioned that just this past weekend or the weekend before, he went to the guides thing here in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, the guides meet, Nova Scotia guides meet.
Yeah, and so there's some woodsman aspect to it. So, there was axe throwing, but there was also some sawing events and some chopping events and this and that. And he actually tried those events for the first time. And he's like, I kind of got the itch now. He's like,
the bug.
It's something new for me to sink my teeth in. He's like, where do I get a saw? How do I train? Da, 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 da. And somebody like Tyler, who was the winner of that Wild Axe and the individual. Yeah. And I told him this, that like basically your approach to how you approach this axe throw thing, like the way you're able to have this sense of calm while you're throwing, you're able to focus, block out anything else. Yeah. And consistency while you're competing. I was like, if you already have that down with doing this, that's kind of when it's enabled me, I think in my mind, to have the most success throughout my career is the ability to take an event, break it down. How do I win it? Not just brute force and ignorance and just bash my way through the log. Yeah. Like, what equipment do I need? Like, what haven't people thought of? Think outside the box. Just because people have always done it this way, maybe that's not the way to do it. But what my point was is that it was really cool to see somebody that got into the sport through axe throwing, went to try out this other event, and now he's got the itch, and now he wants to start getting possibly involved with timber sports. Yeah. So I think
it's a gateway.
It's a gateway. It's a gateway event. So, all of a sudden, if you're having that kind of synergy with athletes going back and forth, you're able to kind of holistically grow both sports.
I think so.
At the same time with, the brand exposure that timber sports has.
Yeah. Huge global enterprise.
Also with massive. The amount of athletes that the axe thrower already has and the amount of countries. Timber sports has, I think, 22 countries involved. Yeah. Axe throwing is probably getting to a similar place. Yeah. And I think it's just a great way to have both sports build off each other. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, and one thing, you made a really excellent point last night. We were chatting about this a bit, and comparing the type of axe throwing that we do typically, as you said, like, and it's how I got introduced to axe throwing as well, like lumberjack sports and 3-throw style, limited throw, those sorts of things, versus the basically the global axe throwing commission style, which is like rounds of 6 at a time, 6 rounds of 6, a lot of just high volume throwing. And you compared it, and I thought it was really cool, to wood chopping events in Australia versus here in North America, where you might chop as many blocks in one day at an Australian or New Zealand competition as you will in a whole season here in North America. And I think that is very true for the axe throwing events here that we're doing now. You might throw as many competitive throws in one day here at the Canadian Championships, which we hosted recently, or an event overseas, World Championships, as you might in a whole season in lumberjack sports.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the way that you were just talking about that is kind of, I'll get a little hippy dippy on you, but like, I think kind of goes through the way I do everything in my life. Like, so take this drink, for example. Like, somebody were to send you that bottle, you just pour it in and you drink it and go, oh, that was really good.
That's what you did.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, no, I put all the ingredients in a glass, shook it and put some ice in it.
That's pretty good.
Or you could take a little bit more time and you could get the bitters, you can get Douglas fir, you could smoke it, you can add garnishes, a nice glass, you can get axes made, and you can go the extra mile and create something special that stands the test of time just by putting that tiny little bit of time in at the beginning and the attention to detail. Instead of just pouring it in a glass, not letting it get cold, drink it. Axe throwing's the same. When we throw 3 throws, the rings on the target are like 3 or 4 inches. They're massive. And that's it. You do it. Out here, 36 throws, 2-inch rings, 100 people.
Yeah.
And so just that kind of that repetition and that aim small, miss small mentality of like, you know, the margin for error, it makes them that much better. And so like my timber sports and logger sports career has always been the same. Everybody looks at it this way, like, oh, this broad spectrum, I got to chop this log. I got to hit it as hard as I can and just go as fast as I can.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm going to go a little step deeper. Like, what axe do I need? Like, what angle of axe do I need? Where do I position my feet?
Are you like this in every aspect of your life? Or like, did you start to learn how to dive deeper into something when you were a child, whether it be other sports or hobbies?
A bit of both. So I've actually been in the sport. So like this year, Squamish Days was my 30th year competing in Squamish Days.
Yeah.
Which is super weird to say out loud.
He's 60 years old. You wouldn't know it by
Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
No, I'm 35, 36. Yeah, I'm 36. So like my dad did the sport before me and he always did the pole climbing events.
Yeah.
And so like any little kid, you want to be like dad.
Yep.
So he made me a little set of spurs and when he'd go out to train, I had a little tree, I go out to train with him. So I did my first climb at Squamish Days when I was 4 years old out in the infield.
These are 90-foot poles, I might add.
It's insane.
I didn't climb 90 feet. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I had Charles
Just went to
Services
60.
out there.
Novice.
Yeah.
Novice climb.
I know. Yeah, I didn't win that year. And then just kept doing it. And I'll tell you what got me to that stage actually is I only ever did the climbing really to start my career. And I was a very small child. I didn't grow for a long time. Like when I got to high school, I think I didn't hit 5 feet tall until I was 14 years old.
Really?
Short, small. Like my basketball photos, it's like the team, Stirling, back up.
Really?
And same thing with like logger sports and climbing. And I got my butt handed to me until I hit a growth spurt when I was like 15.
Wow.
But because I was always so small, and the same with timber sports, what I couldn't make up for with like size and strength, I had to find a way to make that up somehow.
Sure.
And so that was studying
skill and technique.
Yeah, technique. Basically,
Did your dad help you figure that out, or was that something that you just you were like, okay, I got to figure this out for myself?
He gave me tell you what he gave me was my dad was a champion in the climbing and watching him train obsessively and set a goal and train obsessively. One of the last competitions he did when he was like 43, it was on ESPN and TSN and everything. And the finals were in New York. And so he had trained all winter for this event. And like the 3 weeks leading up to it, he got up at 3 a.m. every morning and went to go do his training then because that was the time of day he would be competing in New York.
Love that.
And then he would go to work. So he'd get up at 3 a.m., train, take us to school, go to work, pick us up, come home, train again at night. And so the work ethic is what I got mostly from him because he didn't do the chopping, the sawing.
Right.
And even the actual event he did was tree topping. So you'd climb up and you'd saw the thing off at the top because he had some knee injuries. And so I took that work ethic and applied that to climbing. And so I think I won my first world championship in climbing when I was 18. And then I was world champion for about 5 or 6 years. And then there was 1 year I took it super serious and I just trained. I'd get up and go to the gym in the morning. I was working up Grouse Mountain in Vancouver. Yeah. And I would go there and I would either do the grind up to the top, which is like 3 kilometers of stairs. I would do the first show. We would do like an exhibition lumberjack show up there. Do the first show, and then I would run to the peak of the mountain, which was another like 300 meters in elevation, like 2 hill sprints to the top, come down, do the next show, which is about 6 different events, and it's a live scripted show. Finish that second show, run again, come down, do the third show, go home, go to the gym again. I would do the gym twice a day, plus all that. So I did that all the way leading up until July when our championship events were all held for the climbing. And within 3 weeks, I broke the 60-foot record, the 80-foot record, the 90-foot record, and
World
the 100-foot world records.
World records.
Yeah.
Broke every single
specific.
record there had ever been in climbing in like 3.5, 4 weeks.
That's wild.
Because I just like
that is wild.
Singular focus, and this is what I want to do, and train smart. And I broke everything down to film. I filmed everybody for 2 or 3 years, all the guys that I wanted to beat. How many steps do they take in the first 20 feet? 20 to 40, 40 to 80. How do they come down? What's their equipment look like? Like, what's the rate that they step? Like, how big are their steps? Where am I? Okay, my left foot's
you
going
should really
2
be
inches
like
left.
coaching other people. Like, this should be a career pivot for you at some point. This is insane.
Well, I think, isn't your general advice for tree climbing just don't do it? Basically,
It
the
is
pole
now.
climb.
Yeah, one of the last ones I ever did, I compressed most of the vertebrae in my back.
Oh, God.
I used to be 6'3", now I'm about 5'11".
Yeah, that was a huge growth spurt.
Yeah.
Right at 14, right up. I mean, that's a crazy event. And the out, as they call it, right? The out, that when you come off the top, they pretty much free fall down the 80, 90 feet and like touch the pole a couple of times with spurs. But it's a crazy fall. And like, that's got to be hard on joints and knees and everything. And there's
medical
injuries.
bills. When the medical bills were more than the prize money. And then I actually realized, like, because it was a lot of pain I was always in.
Right.
But it was kind of like a lineage thing. My dad had done it, and then I became good at it. Yep. And I felt this pressure to continue to do it.
Sure.
And then when I realized I wasn't really enjoying it, it was causing me a lot of anxiety because like every second year from the time I was 18 to the time I was 26, every second year I had a season-ending injury.
Oh.
Either torn ankle, torn knee, broken foot.
And it was all pole climbing pretty much?
Yep. Either just little freak the way I'd land or the way because I was also doing 3 exhibition shows a day every day. And we were doing shows in Australia, New Zealand. Like we traveled the world doing these exhibitions and competing. It was pretty much all I did for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I got to a point. It's funny, actually. Good segue. So I was... I got to a point where I was not enjoying the sport any longer. Oh, okay. When I was focused on climbing. Mm-hmm. Right. And I was in a lot of pain and I had anxiety from doing it. And then like, I was like, I think I'm just going to go like try another sport or do something different. Like, I can apply this to something else. And I was kind of at that phase at the beginning of a season. That was 2014. It was the beginning of season. And then at the first show of the year, I was getting ready in the back of my truck and I just stepped off my tailgate but I stepped funny and I broke my foot. I broke my foot. Oh. I'm not crying. I'm just, it's the bitters. I broke my foot. And so I was like, okay, well, that's my climbing season done on my every second year rate that I was on. And I'm like, okay, well, I've already signed up for a bunch of shows and I had signed up for the STIHL Timbersports Series and I went, but it had always been on the back burner because I was a climber. Mm-hmm. And I went, okay, like...
there's no climbing in the STIHL Timbersports.
It's
just wood chopping and sawing, 6 disciplines.
Exactly. So I decided like, okay, the time, attention, and detail and dedication I put into climbing, I'll put that into this Timbersports series, Timbersports series for a year and see how that goes.
Sure.
And so I did that leading all the way up to the series. And then I won the qualifier, and then I won the Canadian championships.
Yep.
And like you can see the old videos, and I was like 155 pounds, and beating some
pretty good competitors too. Like there's some,
yeah, like I did not belong. It looked like I did not belong there. And then, I went over to the World Championships. And again, I was over there and everybody's like, who's this guy? During the competition backstage, I had to leave the arena to go out. I think it was a bathroom or something. I went to come back in and security wouldn't let me back in. He literally said like, look, you can't come see your dad right now. Because he thought I was somebody's kid. And I was like, I'm in the next heat.
But I'm cutting springboard.
Yeah. And the next heat was the springboard. And I ended up winning that event.
Oh my
And actually
God.
that single event, the springboard at the World Championships in 2014 is kind of what put me on the global map.
Right.
And after that happened, like people don't acknowledge who you are, what you've done until you do it in the right place.
Yeah, sure.
You can be a really good golfer, but nobody cares until you do it at the Masters, at the wherever, right? And now you're on the map. And so that happened. And because that happened, I started getting calls that people started calling me for advice. Like, hey, can you help me with springboard? Can you help me with this event? And I got a lot of the calls from Europe because traditionally in the sport, the competitors, as you were saying, are always large. 6 foot plus, 6'2", 3, 4, 240, 230 pounds. And those were the guys that were helping train people, but a lot of these smaller guys that were getting involved in Europe and other places, they're like, the training doesn't necessarily work for us.
Yeah.
Because we're not
doesn't
that
translate
big.
to smaller frame.
We don't have the same balance. We don't have the same power transfer, all this stuff. Like, can you come help us and show us how you do it? Because you're built like us. And so that's when I went over for my first training camp overseas. And that's actually when I really got into timber sports, because all of a sudden I had to break down to Europeans how I was doing things. Yeah. And they want a number and an angle for everything. How far away do you stand? Always. And I'm like, I'd literally just walk up to it and I just hit it as hard and fast as I can until it comes in half. And they're like, but at what many centimeters is your left foot? And I'm like,
oh, wow.
So I just kept coming up with analogies and actually started measuring things and started thinking about things. And there's a way that people always did stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then they would ask me questions. Well, why do you do that? And I'm like, well, it's just how we've always done it. And they're like, but why not do it like this? And I'm like, well, I don't have a good answer for you. Like, let's try it this other way. And I'm like, oh, there's new technology. There's new thinking. There's outside views of sports. There's other sports with synergies. And so I started experimenting and breaking down every single thing I did in timber sports with the same detail and attention I'd done for the climbing. And that's kind of what led to my quick ascension, is I put on 20 pounds in the next 2 years because I no longer had to be light and skinny for climbing.
Yep.
And I kind of bulked up a bit, started training at the gym differently, lifting heavy, eating a lot. And
it's a fun kind of training.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like, dad bod type stuff. And
no one's gonna say you have a dad bod at no point in your career. Be like, oh yeah, classic Stirling Hart dad bod. No, that's not the case.
No, and so like that attention to detail is kind of, and the mindset, basically the mindset.
When it counts, STIHL delivers. One battery, over 60 tools. All-day performance, all-day comfort, all-day power. Ready for any job. Clearing, cutting, trimming, shaping. STIHL Pro Battery. Built for work.
Okay, so this is something I've always been curious about. When you talk mindset, and I think this is true of any athlete, any high-performing athlete of any sport. The mindset going into the competition, nicely done.
She did it to me while I was in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Look at Jerry and like, what are you doing?
Throw everyone
Just
off.
keep it
Shall
together.
I do it again?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just kept
All right, great.
uncomfortable eye
Keep
contact.
Carry on. Ryan, you're up next.
Now
All
Ryan
right.
feels left out.
all right, damn it.
Bush.
Damn, that was delicious.
All right, go on. We're done.
Mindset. So I do think that athletic performance translates from the ability of the competitor to be able to flip a switch in competition, for sure, leading up to competition as well, the mental training, the preparation, the thinking about events. I would be very surprised if that has not led to your success in the sport. I'm sure it has. But how is it that you're able to switch into the zone on game day? Do you have tricks? Speaking of coaching people, you're coaching these other athletes overseas, and you're teaching them, you're learning from them. And some of that's technique, obviously, probably a lot of it's technique. But how do you now translate and communicate the ability to tell these other athletes, and I'm sure they would benefit from this, how do you get into the zone? Because I think people get there differently.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different factors that contribute to that. I think like anything, like even doing your job, like you go to work every day. If you go into a meeting and you haven't taken any notes, you don't know the people you're going in to give the meeting to, you don't know you have questions about what you're about to present to people. But if you go in prepared, if you've done all your homework, if you have everything labeled, notes, boom, good, you have all your equipment in place, you're confident in your gear, you know what the wood's going to be like. If you go in confident, then basically, if you've done enough training and enough preparing, you're just going out to basically execute. It's kind of like the running your own race thing in track.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not competing against anybody. You just, okay, I know the block is in timber sports, that's why it's good.
Yeah.
The wood is always the same size, and you know what the species is going to be.
Yep.
And so I know that when I go out to cut, a 30 centimeter standing block, I know I'm going to put 8 hits in the front. And then I go around the back, I'm going to put 1 up, 1 down. And based on what happened in the front and how the back opened up, I'm either going to put 2 up or I'm going to put 1 up, and I'm going to start hitting it till it falls in half. And that's because I've cut so many of them in competition, in training. I know what my axe is going to do. I know what the stage is like, the grip. I've experimented with different types of shoes. My pants are stretchy, so I can get down a little lower. And I think that sense of preparedness and that attention to detail where there are no more unknowns. Like there was stages in my career where I had trained like so obsessively, specifically to win certain events, that it sounds dumb, but it was easy because I would go out and my margin for error was down to a second or a half second. Like I know I'm going to cut that block in, 13 to 15 hits, depending on if I miss one by 3/4 of an inch on my 4th hit. And that when you train that much, everything slows down. It's kind of like a Matrix thing. Like you're able to visualize it as you're doing it because you've watched the movie so many times. You can do all the lines to Step Brothers because you've seen it so many times. You don't get nervous about doing the lines to it because it comes easy to you.
Yeah.
So when you go to chop, you're just rehearsing. You're just doing the same thing over and again.
Yeah.
And same thing, that's like axe throw guys that have success is just they do the same thing every time. They don't need to change anything, or what they do need to change is so slight. Oh, I gripped a little bit hard there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's minor tweaks.
Yeah. So the preparation, I think, is a massive thing. And then I've done a lot of therapy as well, just because I think it's good for people just to go talk to other people and unload on somebody other than your spouse. You go, this is what's happening at work. This is what's happening at home. And they're like, how does that make you feel? And you're like, yeah, kind of like da-da-da. Oh, okay. I'm not upset about that anymore. I've talked about it. Good.
You got it off your chest.
You got it off your chest.
Yeah.
A lot of people have trouble competing because of anxiety. And the anxiety comes from not knowing what's happening in the future.
Right.
If you've done enough homework and you've trained enough and you have rehearsed what you're about to do, you have a very good idea of what is about to happen in your future, which is the next 20 seconds of your chop. So there goes your anxiety, and you're able to not black out when you compete and just go, You're able to think through it, and everything happens slow.
Man, I love that. I think that is just wonderful advice for all competitors, not just the up and coming ones. I think anybody could learn from that. Cheers, man.
Yeah,
I think
cheers.
that's lovely. Is our guest?
We're
one
dry.
of
I
our
wasn't,
hosts,
man,
right?
yours was way bigger
Let's,
than mine. Like,
We want a refresher?
I mean,
No.
may love it.
Did you?
Yes.
It makes it
I was
over.
Are you
gonna
guys brothers?
say.
Wow. I've had a question I've always wanted to ask you, and since you are forced to be here for the next 20 to 50 seconds of your life, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'd be curious if you had to place 4 athletes from this sport, and you can kind of frame this however you want, on a Mount Rushmore of wood chopping, timber sports, logger sports, however you want to frame that. I'll leave that up to you. I have one in my head. Who would those 4 be, and why would you put them there?
So obviously there's a bunch of different ways you could approach this.
Sure.
So let's do it from...
You could look at impact on the sport.
Let's do it from...
Accolades?
Let's put together a STIHL Timbersports team.
Great.
Like the same way that we do the relay team.
So relay. I love that.
So you've got first event
all
stock
time.
saw.
Yep.
You've got stock saw, underhand, single buck, standing.
Okay.
Some good
I love
synergy there.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
What about host? Is there a host on there?
The host, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
There is. There is
Yeah.
a Mount Rushmore of hosts.
Oh, yeah.
That's episode 2.
Yeah, it is.
Season 2.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
we go.
All right.
Shout out to the Boys Estates.
So-
Tommy Sanders.
You know what? And I want to talk you through this. Like, I want to talk this through
Good,
with you.
yeah,
I
let's
guess.
do it.
Like,
I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's go stock saw. So I've got either, and I'd say Canadians. I'd say either Nick Russell or Mitch
Yeah.
Hewitt.
Yeah.
So Mitch
Wow.
Hewitt has always just been consistent.
Sure.
Mitch Hewitt does not really train stock saw. Obviously, he is like a 15-time world champion in the springboard chop down in Australia. And he has the same mindset wherever he's just calm, relaxed.
Yeah, great mentality.
Yeah, so he doesn't try to go out and ever win an event. He just goes to be smooth, fast, listens to the saw. Everything is smooth. So his average over his whole career, I bet you, is the highest of anybody's. I've rarely seen him ever disqualify.
That's a good point.
And so he's up there, but somebody like a Nick Russell, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Buddy.
Cheers. Somebody like that has put, they are always pushing the envelope, pushing the envelope.
He always wants to break records.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'll put Nick Russell there as my
Wow.
stock sawyer.
That
in
is
the world.
very cool.
In the
Okay.
world.
In the world.
The attention to doing
That's
it.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick Russell. I
Absolutely.
love that.
Gotta ride with
Man,
the team.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
So,
Okay,
then
so we got one.
We go into the underhand.
Wow. Yep.
Your underhand's Braden Meyer. So anybody that's been around timber sports or wood chopping or anything, Braden Meyer has been the underhand cutter for Australia since he broke into the timber sports. He was the Australian champion from the first time he did it.
Yep.
When he was like 19 years old, and he came over to Poland.
Got the world record right now.
Broke the world record.
Yep.
First time.
Yep.
And he has been nearly unbeatable in the underhand and softwood
Yeah.
for the last almost now
He's a beast.
almost 10 years.
Huge individual, like physically.
Australia has won that
monster.
team event.
Yeah.
Like
on his
8
back.
of the last 10 years.
Even though the standing is the last event, he really is the anchor of that team, in my opinion, by having such a fast cut in the underhand year after year in that relay. That anchors that team. And I think other countries are looking at how do we get an underhand cutter that's close so we're not losing time in that event so that we can win the other stuff. So anyway, continue. But yes, I agree completely.
Yeah, like cutting springboards, people always used to try and copy like Mitch Hewitt's
Sure.
way of cutting springboards and the way he does the pockets. Every person in the world is kind of trying to copy Braden Meyer's underhand. You know, in Happy Gilmore, when Shooter McGavin's out in the woods and he's trying to do the Happy Gilmore thing, that's the rest of us trying to do the Braden Meyer in the underhand. And we're like, I don't know how he does it. He's just strong.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, Braden, that's an easy one. Yep. Single saw.
And this is single saw for the relay.
Correct. This is, it could translate.
Think of a few names.
It could translate anywhere. This is the way I chose to break it down.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I would say the single saw, you've got some choices. You've got your Dave Jewitts. You've got Jason Wynyard.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to pump my 2018 self.
Oh,
because
wow,
we were missing. I was never salty about this at the time.
Yeah.
But now that I'm getting older, a little salty about it. We didn't have an official timing system in 2018 at the time for our series.
Beach. This was Canadian Championships with Saga Beach.
What do you mean by official timing system?
So basically, the sport now has grown so much that everything is down and things happen to hundredths of a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And the timing system that we have now across the world to make sure everything,
it's video timing,
it's video
hundredths of a
timing
second,
and the frames per
thousands.
second, and they can zoom in.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, we didn't have that
In Canada.
in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so because the timing system is quite expensive to have, it's an investment. in your team and your sport. And since then, Still Canada's invested in that because we have the caliber of athletes to start breaking world records, which we saw this weekend with Andrea Hand breaking the underhand world record.
Yeah, amazing.
Because we now have the timing system, we're able to publicize that as a STIHL Timbersports world record.
Okay.
So 2018, we did the single saw, and I had been training a lot at this point. The world record was set by Jason Wynyard at 9.4 seconds, and I cut the same-ish block, 9.2 seconds.
Incredible.
Which, and actually,
it's one of the greatest cuts. It's
the three guys before me also broke records.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was nuts. It went, Marcel was 9.6. Nathan was 9.4. Nathan Cumberland.
These
Marcel
were all
Dupree.
like Canadian records.
This is heat after heat.
Heat after heat.
Same event, same day.
Coolest thing I've ever been a part of.
It was remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the record, like the national record dropped every single heat of the finals.
Well, the national record that weekend, I remember this very plainly. So it was 3 days of competition. George Williams broke it the first day. Or maybe Ben. Ben might have broken the first day. I think George broke it the first day 10-1.
I don't know. This is why I have you here.
It went 10-1. I'm going to go from memory here, but I'm pretty sure George Williams broke it 10-1 on the Friday. Ben broke it at 9-9 the next day. And then it went 3 heats in a row. Marcel 9-6, Nathan 9-4, and you 9-2. I think you were 9-2-1, just to be.
So at the time, it would have been a world record, but because we didn't have the timing system, it never goes down. It's not written down anywhere.
That's brutal.
It was on TV, but like at the time, like I know I did it. Other people know I did it. I was capable. Like, and to me, honestly, that's all I really needed. Yeah. But then as you get older, you're kind of like, it'd be cool for that to still be there. Especially after I lost the springboard record. And it's like, my name's been wiped. Like,
at the time you had two of the 6 disciplines he owned world records in at the same time, which is, I mean, not technically for that particular one, but in reality you did, which was incredible.
So I'd say though, on my Mount Rushmore, like I had a very good year that year. It was just me tooting my own horn because I've had
that's fair.
2 drinks. So
that's okay. Get a third one in here. We're going to start talking about some other good stuff. Yeah.
So I would put Jason Wynyard as my single sawyer. So Jason Wynyard was a 10-time world champion in our sport. And like probably I considered the greatest to ever do this timber sports thing.
Yeah.
And he unfortunately passed away from cancer a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And we lost him and we've lost a few other greats as well. Yeah. But he was so dominant for so long, and the single saw like unbeatable for years and years. And it was always like, it was unbeatable in that event.
I don't think I've ever seen him hang.
No, you see how strong he is?
He's a huge man. Like he was a New Zealander, 6'5",
6'5", 260.
You know, huge human being.
Yeah, you'd shake his hand, you'd feel like a child. Like, And so he
was
the
one
that
didn't let you back into the world championship.
Yeah,
no, you're dead.
Yeah, and then standing block, STIHL Timbersports standing block. I would have to give to Mitch Argent. So he has been the Australian standing block cutter for years and years and years, and he's not very tall, but he is built like. Yeah. He is sturdy. Yeah. Like muscle, like a ball of muscle. He's like a little bull. And he's like a bull. We'll just say bull. And he can always cut. He always cuts the fastest times. Like I've seen him cut
crazy
10-second cuts.
Cadence is nuts.
But
power.
One of the things with competing, and there's a few guys that can always do it, they show up when they need to.
Yeah.
If their team is behind. So a standing block, this 30-centimeter block, it was always kind of deemed the best you could cut this was 6 hits in the front and 6 hits in the back. And
12 swings, go on go. You could do it maybe 11, 12 seconds. It'd be like a world record.
Yeah. And that was kind of always deemed. That's all the best anybody had ever done. And at that team relay in Poland, Australia went into the last event during the team relay behind by 2 hits to New Zealand, who had Adam Lowe in the standing, who was considered the best cutter in the world. And Mitch,
huge man.
And Mitch put 6 hits in the front. He turned around and he put 5 hits in the back, which had like never, ever been done. And he cut it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's nuts.
The fastest cut still to this day on any stage anywhere that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was insane. And he's done that for Team Australia year after year after year. Yeah. And
Great
he shows up when he needs to. So that's my Mount Rushmore.
That's a solid team. I like the lens that you put on that. Of like, okay, well, I'm going to put a relay team together. Yeah, I've thought about it a bunch, the Rushmore. for me. And I would take a little bit different lens, a broader appeal lens. And I would talk about like kind of accolades and impact. And so when I think about it, I would number one, I'd put Jason Wynyard up there for sure. Because of number one, how impactful he was in steel timber sports, and obviously 10 world titles. And he was just so dominant for so long and so influential in the sport. He kind of spanned multiple generations of competitors as well.
He was so nice too. Can we swear on this podcast or no?
Sure you can.
So I asked Jason Wynyard at one of the last World Championships he was alive, because what I always admired about him is, and I remember working so hard to get to the pinnacle of my sport, and I knew what it took and the dedication and finding the equipment, the time it took to get to there. And I went up there for like 2 or 3 years, and like it's a lot of work to get up there, and then it's very hard to find the motivation to stay there. And Jason Wynyard had done this 10 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked him at one of the after functions, and I was like, look, like, how do you find the motivation? Like, how do you get up there year after year after year and still want to like win? Right. And he's like the nicest, softest spoken guy ever. And he went, Stirling, he's like, I come across really nice, but he's like, I am a mean motherfucker. And like, it was kind of like hearing your teacher or your parents swear for the first time. And I was like, and I was like, oh, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I am able to be myself, Jason, soft spoken, nice handshake, doesn't like just 6'6", 6'5", 260 pounds. But he's like, the minute I step on that stage, I will crush anybody or anything that comes in my way until I get off that stage.
Love it.
And like, I can remember cutting against him. My world record, I was cutting against him.
Yeah.
But the stage shakes with him on it. And then even when you're standing beside him in the tunnel, and when he chops, he breathes like a bull. Or if you've ever heard like a big dog or a bull getting ready to charge, that snort, that's how he chops.
No.
And you can hear it over the audience and you can feel it in the stage. Like his aura is like, and man, like you're almost beaten when you walk on the stage with him, because you're just like, I shouldn't be here. Like he's, and so, yeah, good number one.
So he's on there, obviously, and for all those reasons you said, and I would say another impactful individual, and these are guys that I only know from basically legend and videos and things. I didn't meet any of these guys necessarily, but the other one would be, I think, his counterpart, who also sadly passed away, and that's Dave Bolstad.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave Bolstad was a guy that he's the only competitor ever to go to the World Championships in steel timber sports and win all 6 disciplines. And that is a feat that is so incredibly difficult to do. And he did it at a time when all competitors were in all the disciplines. Today, it's a little different. There's a knockout system that didn't exist at that time. So you're going against the best from each country in each discipline. And I would say as well, he was another New Zealander, another Kiwi. Had he not passed away so early, so young, he very well, you could make a case to say that David very well could have been the top guy for New Zealand some years when Jason was there winning, because they were very even in a lot of competitions.
They were 1 and 2 every single year.
Yeah.
At this qualifying series, because you used to go to the U.S. Everybody would go to the U.S.
Yeah.
That was all there was before. They were first and second, I think, for 12 years in a row, which may have been a factor in us developing the World Championship to give everybody else a chance. 1 and 2 every single year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbeatable.
Yeah.
Both of them. Yeah.
And to me, like, that's a guy, I love going back and watching his old videos and like these old races. And you talk about delivering in the moment on the day. Jason Wynyard himself said David Bolstad was the greatest relay cutter he'd ever been with. And I think it's because he could switch on and he could go in the zone and he could do those things we talked about earlier. The same thing as
they called him the professor.
Yeah.
Because everything was technically perfect with everything. There was never a missed hit. There was never, he never seemed rattled. Everything.
Well, those 6 and 6 cuts you talk about, he was delivering those over and over too. Like it was just, So I think impact, skill, championship pedigree, all of those things. That's a guy that I put up there as well. Mm-hmm. Kind of hero in the sport for me too. Both those guys. The third person I'd put on that Mount Rushmore is another guy that I haven't ever seen. It's all, legend and all of these things, but it's David Foster. He's an Australian wood chopping legend, 1,000 world title. That's a classic claim.
Only athlete in sports history, so like sports history, to win 1,000 championships in their sport.
Really?
1,000 championships.
That's a lot.
Which my first thought was like,
You've been
who's
to
keeping
1,000?
track?
Yeah.
I was like,
He
I had
was,
no
yeah.
idea. They're in a box. Like,
Yeah. I think, and for those reasons, like that's a name that when you talk about the sport, I'm saying the broader aspect, that kind of holistic term, not STIHL Timbersports. STIHL Timbersports, that wasn't his thing. He wasn't in STIHL Timbersports necessarily. Maybe
He did come over
maybe
and do
early
it.
days. Okay, so
he did.
early-
I have seen him do a springboard.
Okay, there you go. So,
Entertaining.
but it's not what he's known for, of course. And Australia's, we talked about it earlier, that's the greatest axemen, the greatest wood choppers come from Australia. They chop a harder wood. They have to be extremely good at it, and they chop a lot. So he was there in the toughest place in the world, being the best in the world. And I think
he was David, but he was Goliath. He was about 6'6",
I love
probably
that.
360, 370.
Whoa.
It's a huge individual.
Huge. Like, I
Wider
was
than this
shaking his
table.
hand for the first time, and it like, there was nowhere for my hand to go. He basically just like shook
It
my whole,
swallowed it
like,
whole.
yeah, I just like, this is
Shook
like,
your elbow.
I'm never going to find love. Like, yeah, I just like, I felt like a child, man. Like, yeah, insane. Yeah.
So that's my number 3.
Yeah.
And the fourth individual I put up there, and I'll tell you this because I had a conversation with him about this just the other day, about this Mount Rushmore. And I didn't tell him this part. But we agree. Those were the first 3 names he said as well. But my fourth person is Mitch Hewitt. Mitch is, he lives in Canada. He's originally from Australia, but he lives in Canada, competes as a Canadian, and has been for, 10, 15 years or so. Been here a long time. And one of the key reasons I put Mitch on there is that you mentioned earlier, 15 times he's won the world title in what I think many people in the sport would consider the toughest test of an axeman, which is the 3-board tree in Sydney. It's the springboard chop, as we talked about. It's ascending 3 boards high, not just 2 like we do in the STIHL series. 3 boards high, cutting halfway through the log, descending, taking boards with you as you go.
Oh, wow.
Then going 3 boards high the other side and finishing the log from the top. He's won that.
It's horrible.
15 different times.
It's insane.
15.
That's a world title event, and he's won it 15 times. That alone raises you to a certain standard. It's really impressive. There's others that have won it many times, like
I've
that.
seen him win
Matthew
it in
Gurr.
fashion too, when there was nobody. I watched him in 2008 go up the first side, cut the half, come down, go up the second side, put 2 hits in the top, broke his axe, threw it down, hop 1, 2, and they take your first board out when you're up there. He walked over to his axe box, grabbed a replacement axe, went over, put the bottom board in, climbed up in the world title final and won.
Wow.
Like,
Insane.
but no, yeah.
So calm. He's on yours. It's funny because he's on your Mount Rushmore for different reasons. He's on you for the stock saw, but that mentality that he brings.
If I had included the springboard in timber sports,
Yeah.
there is like
No question.
0 doubt.
So not only has he done that, if that alone was all he did, you could make a case. But the fact is, he then transcended and jumped over to STIHL Timbersports, which includes sawing. It's a broader aspect than just wood chopping. He's won 5 Canadian championships. He's podiumed at the World Championships.
Western Canadian single saw champion in 2014. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, like that's a title he still holds to this day.
He had the singles.
He's the reigning Western Canadian single saw champion. You ask him about it.
We're gonna
and
need to
that's
break
one
that
of his
down.
biggest feathers in his hat.
It's not necessarily his strongest event, not what he's known for. So we're gonna check facts on that one. No, I'm teasing. Mitch is a great guy and just a champion pedigree. It's kind of like what I was saying with Jason, like won so many times. And I think for that reason, because he's done it on all levels, the traditional wood chopping alone, Aussie style, but then coming into the STIHL Timbersports Series and being, becoming a champion in world, recognized in the world stage. Like to me, that's a guy that I couldn't leave off that. So those are my 4.
I like it. What do you think, Kim? I feel like we've left you over here in the dark. We're just like, hey, Kim, we need a refill. Like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
you're a part of this too.
It's
You
fine.
got some
I
thoughts?
know. No, I have no thoughts. I don't know enough about the sport. That's why I'm here.
Just say us, and then we're fine.
I agree with you both. Nice choices.
Yeah.
No.
I'll tell you what. We're gonna let you stew on this one a little bit, Kim, and I think that's a great place to wrap it up. Stirling, I am so thrilled that you were able to do this. Come in, have a couple of drinks with a couple cocktails, and shoot the shit. It's a pleasure having you here, and thanks again for coming out doing the Wild Axe Championship as well. That was really cool having you on there. Maybe he's a future champion axe thrower over and over. I think I'm going to convert him from STIHL Timbersports just to pure axe throwing.
I'm slowly getting into like the axe throw stalks off phase of my career.
Hey, World Championships is in Sweden next year. Let's
Nobody
go
ever blew a knee
You
through
want to do
an
it?
axe, you know?
Let's do it. We're going to go to Sweden next year, throw axes.
Okay.
Cheers, Kim.
Cheers.
Thanks so much.
Good
Pleasure.
cocktails. Absolutely.
They're delicious.
Stay tuned for episode 2 in season 2. Yeah.
I love that you're
I gotta
predicting
tell you how
our
much
future.
more I have to say.
I think there's a
Endless.
lot.
We'll bring you back.
Oh man,
We'll bring you back.
Tip of the iceberg.
Cheers. How about Stirling Hart, Kim? Been talking him up for a bit. I feel like I was building this episode a little bit with you. Did that not deliver? Sorry, I'm banging the glasses around. Did that not deliver?
It was great. It was so
Yeah.
good. He's quite the athlete.
Oh man. More than that, like I just feel like he's the type of guy that he has the championship pedigree. I feel like I keep saying that over and over this episode, but he does have a championship pedigree. He's won and all these things. But more than that, he wants to get back to the sport, and he wants to, whether it's coaching, he talked about coaching the next generation, whether it's expanding and coming out east and supporting things like this, showing up, making time to do this interview,
Right.
or last year, he's here a year ago doing the Wild Axe Championships. A few years before, he was here for the World Championships in the axe throwing. He's a good guy. Like I've known Stirling probably a decade, and really got to know him well in the last 4 or 5 years, and we've become friends. And I think super highly of the guy, and I think it's super cool that he was able to do this, and I'm really excited. I think it's really really cool, and the freaking drinks were amazing too. Like
I know.
and she does it again, folks.
Thank you.
Kim
Thank you.
Moser just delivers.
I have to give props to the whiskey.
Yeah, shout
It's
out
great.
Bohemian Spirits, man. That is it's a small batch whiskey that basically, like, it's handwritten on the bottle.
I know.
It's a very special thing. And shout out to my man, Wade Jarvis, a good buddy of mine that, like I said, we got to know each other ages ago through timber sports, through competing as college students. And now here we are hosting a timber sports and axe throwing podcast. And he's making whiskey for it, which is really cool. And of course, thanks to you for the drinks, thanks to Stirling, and thanks to our man Doug Folkens for our music, BNV Media for the production side, Timber Lounge Axe Throwing, and of course, STIHL Limited. We've got another one in the bag, Kim.
I can't believe it.
Be sure to join us next time for a very special on-location finale of the first season of Double Bitter. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.